Hey guys, welcome.
Welcome.
Have you ever thought of retiring in the Philippines and you're concerned how much it will cost you because you are on a limited budget? Maybe you are in your social security.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know there are some people that looking to retire in the Philippines because they cannot live on their social security back home, especially in the United States. It's very expensive there.
Yes.
Yeah, how much is the social security people get usually?
It's hard to put a number on that because it's a range. Everybody gets different. But I've got my social security coming up in a couple of months, and it's really kind of a pathetic amount. But I'm finding there's a lot of people on this kind of amount. For me, it's like right now, $1,100 a month.
Yeah.
And we get asked often, right? Could I survive on $1,000 a month or this or that? So we kind of put together some numbers today.
Yep.
To see if that's possible.
Yeah, so let's get started. So people always ask us question, how much is it going to cost them to live in the Philippines for a single guy, or if you decided to live with a Filipina, is it going to affect your budget, or is it going to help you to do your budget with a Filipina?
Yeah, we should really talk about with and without girlfriend in this budget video, because that can change the numbers.
Yeah,
greatly.
Because people think having a Filipina will cost you a lot. Is it costing you a lot?
Well, it can if you're not careful. For sure.
Yeah.
So we're really addressing those people that want to come to the Philippines that are on very limited budgets. So we'll go through those numbers today a little bit. We're going to be giving this budget based on living here in Dumaguete because, just like in America, it costs a very different amount to survive each month depending on what state you're in or which city you're in, where you live. The cost of living in Dumaguete is definitely going to be a lot cheaper than it is in, say, living in Cebu or Manila.
BGC, Manila, that's expensive places.
Yeah, so for your guideline today, this is really our experience in Dumaguete.
Yeah, speaking on our experience.
Exactly. All right, so one of it, just because it drives me nuts, is when we often get people sending messages asking, can I survive on $5,000 a month? That's kind of a stupid thing to say. Yeah, survive. You can live like a king.
Yes.
And have several girlfriends, which we really don't recommend, of course. I think you should have one.
Yeah.
But so if you've got that kind of money, or
I don't think you should watch this video. You don't need to watch this
trying
video.
to lose views now. You just lost a bunch of views. They just switched off,
Yeah.
It's really we are targeting people that are very limited. When I say limited, like I said in the intro, I got Social Security coming up, and I was kind of thinking, wow, I'm only going to get $1,100 a month. Imagine if I was in America and I decided to retire early and take $1,100 a month.
We had to work to make more money. It's not enough.
Well, if you were going to stay in US, that's the sad thing in US right now. Your Social Security can be, and I know it's different for everyone, but it can be so low that if you retire early, you still have to work, and that doesn't even work so well in US because then they'll tax you at a really high rate above a certain amount. You can't even earn that much money. So really, retiring early in US is not an option for a lot of people.
Yeah, wow.
But if you're thinking about coming to the Philippines, an early retirement can work, even if it's $1,100 a month.
So there are some foreigners that are on their social security, living on a limited budget, and they're concerned of finding or living with a Filipina because maybe they think it's their budget is not enough to fulfill the Filipinas' needs or the maintenance. Do you think is it going to cost you having a Filipina, or is that going to help you?
If you allow it to cost you, it can. But really, getting into a relationship with a Filipina, and to the point where they live with you, it shouldn't increase your budget that much. But people often make a mistake, right? When they come over here and they meet a Filipina, they often naturally go out of their way to want to please, impress, spoil them a little bit, and especially a lot of these Philippine girls haven't experienced luxuries, or if they come from the province, everything's a luxury, and so men tend to sometimes start spending a little more money at the beginning, and also because they want to secure the relation. They think that if I show them I'm really kind and generous, and maybe they will secure that relationship. And trouble is just setting a standard from the beginning of what you're going to be willing to spend. And if you're spending more at the beginning in a relationship than you really can afford to, or that's going to take you above your budget, that's a big mistake.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you have to be honest. Like, if you're just living on your social security, you have to specifically told your Filipina, is she gonna be okay with that? If she's willing to make it work, and then she won't expect, right? Because there's some guys that would pretend that they got money, but which is they don't really have. That's a big mistake, So really, living with a Filipina, it should not affect your budget, because Filipina love to cook. Like, imagine, like, if she would cook instead of going out every night. I mean, right? That can help you. It should be.
So that being said, that reminds me how important it is to start the dating process off in the right way. So, let's say you come out here and you're not in a relationship, and you're seeking someone. Well, be patient, take your time, don't rush it. You will find someone. And when you do find someone, you connect with them. Do the normal things, like go on a few dates, nothing too lavish, and be honest from the beginning, like you said. Tell them that you're on a limited budget here, you're retired, you get Social Security, and so they know from the beginning that you're not someone that's loaded with money, and this is pretty much what you get. And of course, if you pass that test and they still like you, then great. Then have a relationship, but live within your means. Don't start living above your current budget to try and impress the girl, or think that's going to secure the relationship. Let's be honest. If you meet a traditional girl from the province, and you get into a relationship that results in you living with each other, if you're living on $1,100 a month, that is luxury to a lot of the Philippines from the province. That's already a massive upgrade to how they were living before. So that in itself is spoiling them, and giving them a whole new life that I think they would really appreciate. Anyway, let's just get into kind of some of the costs, so people can get an idea if even living off, say, $1,100 a month is possible.
All right, so let's start with a big cost.
What's the big cost, honey?
Rentals. That's a good one. Anyway,
let's put the girl aside for a minute. We'll worry about that later.
Okay, so the big cost is, of course, the housing. Rent.
Housing, rent, and expenses.
Yes, but here in Dumaguete, actually, it's cheaper when you compare it to other city. Like you mentioned, Cebu or BGC in Manila, even Iloilo.
If you're on your own, or you're just with you're with a Filipina, you need a one-bedroom apartment, right? And you can get a pretty nice, comfortable place with air conditioning, close to the city or in the city, for around
20,000 pesos. How much is it in dollar? 360
something.
US dollar.
And we're using these numbers, based on people that are coming from the West, or specifically America, because a lot of those people that are coming out here to retire don't want to go live in a stick house in the province.
Exactly.
Because of course now we can really get into low cost of living if you want to live like a Filipino in the province. But that seems to defeat the purpose of retiring, doesn't it?
Exactly. You still want to be able to live comfortably,
Right.
You don't want to rent a place where there's a chicken inside the house, right? or
That's true.
living next to the Philippine neighborhood with the dogs, karaoke everywhere, including the housing cost is electric bill. Electric bill in the Philippines is not that cheap.
Well, it depends if you're running an air conditioner 24 hours a day
Maybe
or
on
whatever.
it depends on your lifestyle.
Look,
really.
if you're you know, American coming here and you're going to want air conditioning, unless you go up in the mountains of Valencia or something, which is a little cooler, which is an option. But if you're anywhere close to the city or like where we are, you're going to need air conditioning.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's expensive to run air conditioning. I think in a one-bedroom apartment, you can still expect your electric bill to be up to about 5,000. I think could be less.
Three.
Three. Let's say 3 to 5. I mean, 5. I'm saying someone that spends a lot of time in the apartments running the air conditioner
Yeah.
all the time, it will be closer to 5. But
Yeah.
no, you're right. If you're out a lot, you're just running it at night, you might be able to get it down
Three.
to 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the apartment usually is not that big, so yeah, I would say 3.
Yeah, and the only other housing cost really, you got internet, which is you can get a good service around 1,500.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right now, ours is what's our plan? 1,800.
1,800, yeah.
Yeah, and we have a really good fast internet.
Yeah, it's very fast. It's been pretty reliable actually since we moved here. You know, and then you've got water, which is another, and gas, water and gas.
Water and gas.
If you have a gas stove, which that's getting expensive.
Yeah.
It's about 1,200 to fill up a tank.
Yeah, but usually that would last. It depends how often you cook, but that would last for like 2 or 3 months for a couple. Days, I
that's
would
true.
say. Yeah.
That's true. So water's just a couple, you know, not even a couple of hundred.
It
Depends on where you live.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes some owner would just pay for it for you. You know, because it's cheap here. The water here is cheaper in the province.
Yeah, yeah.
What's next?
Well, food is the next big cost. And again, when we come up with these budgets, we're assuming you're going to want to eat kind of decent.
Decent
You know,
food.
because again, like with housing, you could live in a stick house with food. You could live off street food. I mean, and
I
pay
don't
very
think
little.
you want to eat balut, dried fish.
Let's talk about groceries for a single man.
or a couple.
Well, you know what? That's the point. Shouldn't cost a lot more for a couple.
Yeah, no. It depends. Maybe you want to buy a steak. No, we're not talking about that. You know, we're talking about people that have a limited budget, and of course, you have to go to items that is not too expensive, like chicken. Chicken here is not that bad, right? In the Philippines, yeah.
So, what are you going to suggest they have in their mind for a monthly budget on groceries?
At least 15 or 16,000 pesos.
For a
Yeah.
month, yeah, that's not much.
For a couple, like you can get everything pretty much you need there, like your hygiene. That's the groceries. And what's next? We
Transportation,
have transportation.
which it shouldn't be. Well, it depends. I recommend if you come out here, especially Dumaguete, because public transportation isn't that great.
Yeah.
Tricycles are really only good if you live near a main street where there are constant tricycles going by. And that can be stressful though, because you know, if those that have been out here and experienced tricycles, every time you get in a tricycle and you see a foreigner, they're trying to extort you for something.
And then that's very stressful trying to negotiate with
Yeah,
a
so
tricycle driver.
So it could actually, and I know people have done this actually, that especially if you live a little outside, like Bacong or Darwin, it can get really expensive.
Yes, I think in Valencia to the town, I think that was 150.
300. No, it's more
Right
than-
now,
more than 150.
that was 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, it's more like 200 plus
Now, yeah, 200 plus.
each way.
That's a lot. So that's why most foreigner that move here for retirement usually get a bike. You know, they bought a bike. That's more
Yeah, a
convenient.
scooter like what we used to have, a little 3-wheeled,
Yeah.
Barsha,
Yes.
something
yes.
like that. Something that's very economical, not too expensive
Yeah.
to buy. Some people, especially if they're coming over here and they're quite old or get health problems and on, maybe they've never ridden a motorcycle before. It's not, you know, especially out here with the crazy drivers.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody wants to drive a scooter.
That's an option. That Baja we get. You know,
Yeah,
3-wheel.
Yeah. So anyway, get yourself some transportation. That's
How
definitely
much is that
recommended.
gonna cost you for gas?
Gas and maintenance, you're going to be averaging less than 1,000 pesos a month.
So another big cost is dining, eating out, lunch, and also including the coffee. Foreigners like to go to coffee shop and maybe have some conversation with your Filipina or something. We figured you have to spend 16,000 pesos.
We figured 16,000, which is about the same as our grocery bill. But because we're assuming that maybe half the time you're going to be out, out for lunch, maybe go out for dinner. So maybe you're going to go out for dinner 3 times a week. It's kind of, well, we don't do it now because we're trying to budget, but we used to kind of like to go out 3 times a week
Yeah, you usually
for dinner.
do.
I think we're down to 1 right now.
Yeah.
But that'll increase.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. So yeah, and we're assuming that when you go out to dinner, you're going to be with someone, because most people like to go out for dinner with someone. So that's why it's a little higher on our estimate. So basically, around 3,000 pesos a week for restaurants, and about 1,000 add for the coffees and stuff that you go out for in a week.
It still depends on your lifestyle, and of course, we give this number. You can less that and save the money, right?
Yeah, this is all to just give you an idea of living a reasonably comfortable life.
Yes.
And if you really want to just, spend as little as possible, of course you can always.
You can
do
still
that.
control that, and we assume that you have some money for emergencies like healthcare.
Yeah.
It's very important, guys. So
Yeah, it's really important to not come out here if you are retiring, and maybe some people have no choice, but it's very risky to come out here if you don't have savings.
yeah, and if you're just living month to month of your social security,
Yeah.
that's very scary
Very
situation.
risky and scary because emergencies will come up now and then.
Yeah.
What if you get dengue or something? You
yeah.
spend a few days in the hospital, or that
accident.
can be a big bill, or an accident. Anything can happen. So definitely very important advice for anybody is to have a decent amount of savings. And it's hard to put a number on that, but I usually like to say that I'd like to have at least 6 months of living expenses, in reserve. Also, it's good if you do have savings. Obviously, the more you've got, the better. But it'd be nice to have some put away for future travel. When you're out here, you don't want to. Again, you might be living month to month, but if you've got savings, and you want to take a trip to another island, or even to a different country for a vacation, you need to have something put away.
Yeah.
For that. So definitely the more savings you can bring here, the better. If you want to enjoy traveling and extra things like that.
So how much we figure the total for everything?
Right, well, we've got, we think you can come out here, live in a pretty decent apartment, eat reasonably well, have a girlfriend, and you could get away with around, I've got 56,700 pesos, which is a little over $1,000 US dollar.
Yeah.
And that's definitely doable.
Doable.
It's doable. You can definitely live off just over $1,000 a month, and live a reasonably comfortable life.
Yep.
But just please remember that does not include any extras. That's your basics.
Basic.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Now living and food and gas and stuff like that. If you want a little more of an enjoyable retirement, either you need to generate some more income.
Yep.
Or you need to have a decent amount of savings. I know some people do. They get to retirement age, maybe they own a home and they sell the home and they've got a nice chunk of money they can put into a savings account.
Yeah.
And then you can live off your retirement month to month, pay your living costs, and have savings for all the extras that you want.
Yeah.
And of course there's other little things. You have to buy clothes and stuff now and then, and so you want to have extra money to buy things, other needs that you might have.
Our expenses is not even close
Well-
to what you're going to receive for Social Security, because we have a lot of extras. We got kids.
Yeah, well, no, okay, so for me, and again, I was, when we decided to pick a low number like 1,100, can you live off, it's because that's what I would be eligible for.
Yes.
For me personally, but I also have a kid, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to get another, for me, about another $800 a month. So we'll have about $1,900 a month coming in.
Yeah.
which is still lower than our monthly
Yes,
expenses.
yes.
So we will continue to make a little extra to make the
Yeah.
difference, which isn't that difficult to do because our expenses right now, for a family of 4, we're up to about 2,350 a month, which it costs us to live, and that includes. Right now, that includes private school for the children,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
10,000 a month, and it includes our car payment, which is 20,000 a month.
Helper. Yeah, there's so many other
yeah.
expenses. So
Yeah, so our expenses still by an American standard, $2,350 a month for a family of 4 is pretty low.
yeah, still cheaper when you compare living in the US, right?
Yeah, and if anybody's interested in getting a breakdown on what our costs are in a month for a family of 4, email us. We'll be happy to provide it and show you a breakdown.
Yeah, okay. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and find it helpful to some. Thank you guys for watching till the end, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
God bless everyone.